If you've graduated this year or you are out there on the job market looking for your first job and you are feeling like nothing is working, this video is for you. Because the headlines would have you believe that you have done everything right, and yet there is still no way that any doors are going to open for you. I just want to start by saying you're not being dramatic, and it's not your fault for not trying hard enough. The market for new grads right now is the toughest that it's been since the pandemic, when nobody had a job. It's not tough like you gotta just apply fast and first. It's tough like structurally the ways that we are working have changed and traditional entry-level roles aren't there, and we're seeing this rise in underemployment, not just unemployment. And I wanna show you with actual data, not just these like fear-mongering headlines, why the old approach doesn't work anymore and what you can do instead. Because here's the mismatch. Between 2004 and 2024, US college completions rose 54%, where entry-level jobs only rose 42%. You don't need a college degree to see the math ain't mathing. And right now, between 42 and 43% of US grads between 22 and 27 are underemployed. They're working jobs that don't require the degree they just spent years earning. So when we see that the unemployment rate is hovering around 4.3, 4.4%, which is pretty low, we remember that doesn't reflect these underemployed groups. And we also consider how much the hiring market dynamics have changed in recent years. The combo of AI plus automation plus all of the economic volatility we've seen has created this environment where companies feel safer cutting entry level than anybody else. Plus, higher interest rates and constant recession talk have pushed a lot of employers to slow hiring and demand what they think of as ready-made talent. At the same time, AI is swallowing so many of the routine tasks that used to justify more junior roles, so leaders convince themselves that they can rely on smaller groups of experienced workers using AI instead of training new grads. That keeps today's costs down, but it quietly erodes the bottom rung of the career ladder, and it starves the entire economy of their next generation of skilled workers. Like, I'm exhausted just thinking about it. So if you're one of those fresh grads doing every job application tactic your parents and your teachers and your career coaches are telling you, and still nothing is working, that's because those strategies haven't changed for the current job market we're in. So in this video, we're going to look at 4 factors you should consider and use to your advantage. Number 1, the market is more random than successful people will admit, and what that means for you. Number 2, strategies you can use to increase your luck. 3, why bridge jobs can be your best bet right now. And 4, building the skills that make you competitive. So before we get into all of that, there is one thing that we need to address, because there is no playbook that is going to work if your brain is still running the old one. And that is the belief that the job market is a linear system. It's a formula. Like, I'm supposed to finish my degree and I build the strong resume and I apply to roles and then I land the job. And when that formula fails, it's really easy for your brain to draw this very logical but very unhelpful conclusion. I'm the problem. I'm not enough. I'm falling behind. That mentality is fueled from outdated advice from mentors, parents, teachers, peers, random strangers who still believe that the system is purely meritocratic. It's not. Today's market, frankly, is operating more like a random system than a linear one. But in all that randomness, taking a nothing I do matters approach doesn't work either. This tension is what neuroscientist Martin Seligman calls learned helplessness. We don't usually give up just because things are bad or they're hard. Like, it's usually because of how we explain those events to ourselves. So if you view job searching and rejection through any of these lenses, whether it's internal, I'm not smart enough, stable, I'll always be unemployed, or global, I'm a failure at everything, then your helplessness becomes a more permanent state. And the antidote is your agency. By shifting your self-explanation to the external, like the market is random, and the specific, this one application didn't land, you can rewire your brain out of that doom loop. And here's the first thing that nobody's telling you that reframes everything. In 2018, researchers from the University of Catania simulated 1,000 careers and found that the most successful people were rarely the most talented. They were typically people of average talent who hit a lucky streak early that then compounded. And in today's market, where 70 to 85% of jobs are filled through the hidden job market or through networks before they are ever posted, the old just wait and apply to jobs when you need a new one, that rule isn't just slow, it's mathematically disconnected from how the system is actually functioning. And that's why all the advice from your older mentors, like your parents or your siblings or your tutors, often feels reductive. Like they're likely falling for the straight line fallacy or survivorship bias, mistaking the macroeconomic tailwinds that they graduated into for this universal meritocratic formula. So if the market is random, where does that leave you? Well, you're not powerless, you just have to pull a different lever. Maybe you've seen this idea of lucky girl syndrome on social media before. It's been around for a while. I get it served here and there. It's rooted in this idea that just believing good things happen for you and hoping good things will work out means they're more likely to do so. While it sounds like woo-woo and manifesting, it actually bears some pretty well-researched weight. We can't control the wind, and by the wind, I mean the randomness of the market, but we can control our luck surface area, or the size of our sails. So there's this concept popularized by Jason Roberts. It follows the formula that luck is a combination of doing and telling. If you are doing amazing work, but you're telling no one, or you are constantly talking, but you're not actually doing anything, your surface area remains pretty small. Luck only happens at the intersection of the two. This idea is supported by a landmark study of over 20 million LinkedIn users, which proved that weak ties, aka your acquaintances rather than your close friends, are the most likely to help you land your next opportunity because they bridge you into networks that you don't already inhabit. And because referred candidates are 4 to 5 times more likely to get hired than cold applicants, increasing your visibility isn't just about sharing your work, it's about increasing your odds. And I know what you're thinking, Hannah, I've been trying, I'm doing the things, it's not working. So if you feel like you're just shouting into a void, you might be stuck in the experience paradox. You need a job to get experience, but you need experience in order to land the job. ZipRecruiter's 2026 data is polarizing. Grads with any work experience, literally anything, were hired at a rate of 81.6%. Those without any experience were only hired at a rate of 40.7%. The market doesn't actually care that much about the prestige of your internship or whether you've worked in a field that's relevant to the role you want. Like, it doesn't really care about what you've done much at all, as long as there's somebody else along the way that has vetted you as a functioning and effective person at work. A little experience goes a hell of a long way. Well-meaning mentors or parents might say, don't settle, wait for the right role, you'll have all sorts of options. But sometimes, especially at the beginning of your career, that's not an option. Like when you need to pay bills and live your life, the goal becomes just taking that tactical first step. This is what brings us to the idea of a bridge job. A bridge job is a job that connects you between two career jobs, or if you're entry level, connects you to your first career job. It could look like a role that's adjacent to what you want to be in. Maybe you want to work in marketing, but you can only land something in sales. It could be contract or temp work. It could be a part-time job or project-based work. A project could be a great bridge job into a full-time role with the same company. It could even be volunteering or an internship along something else part-time. I've actually done quite a bit of work with an amazing company called Robert Half. They are the largest staffing firm in the world, and they place job seekers into temp, contract, part-time, and full-time roles all around the world. My brother actually landed his very first corporate job through a temp job he got with Robert Half. So if you're job searching, definitely get in touch with one of their recruiters and see what they might have available for you. And none of these bridge jobs need to be forever. Like, they help you get those reps in, they help you build transferable skills so that you can have an easier time showing your value when you're trying to land that next step. And if none of these are available to you, the lowest cost version is taking a learn in public approach and going for self-directed work. So maybe you're gunning for a job in marketing or product management. That could look like just posting about a self-directed project you completed to solve a real market problem, even if nobody assigned it to you or paid you to do it. Maybe you invent a campaign for your favorite brand to help promote a product they just launched. Or if you're looking into finance or something similar, like you could build a public dashboard to monitor trends or spending in a specific or emerging industry. And there are so many vibe coding tools that make this ridiculously easy to do. Not only does it show you understand the market and the role you want to be in, but it also proves you have the initiative to actually do something about it. And show your thinking. Don't just show the output. Yes, it's free work right now, but you're essentially paying yourself, which will reap benefits down the road. So where does AI fit into all of this? Because we can't talk about entry-level roles disappearing without mentioning AI. Well, despite what the headlines would lead you to believe, entry level is not going away. We are just seeing the nature of these jobs changing, and we are experiencing the clunky consequences of that change happening live. Because companies will, at some point, realize that they need entry level talent again. As people get promoted, as they age, as they leave the workforce, the jobs will come back. Like, we're already seeing data showing that the entry level roles that are still around are shifting from this copy paste, task execution focused busy work to more judgment-based work. Things like reviewing AI outputs or making decisions based on those outputs or flagging edge cases or risks that these models may have missed. So as you find your footing in the evolving world of work, building your AI skills is one of the highest leverage things that you can do right now. Specifically, there are 3 muscles that you will need to have in the AI era of work. First is judgment and quality control. Like, can you tell the difference between a solid AI output and one that's subtly wrong, biased, or missing context? A lot of entry-level jobs right now represent this layer between machine and manager, so you need to be able to build that discernment than just accepting whatever the machine gives you. Second is context and domain understanding. Like, AI can summarize an industry or teach you something new, but it can't quite tell you which trend actually matters for your company or your clients or your role. The people who stand out are using AI to rapidly build that industry context. They're researching sectors, customers, and competitors, and then they're layering in their own thinking on top instead of just copying verbatim. And third is problem framing and experimentation. Tools are only as good as the questions that you ask them, and entry-level workers with AI literacy are using it to explore new ideas or test mini experiments or surface insights for their team, not just write their emails faster. This is more like use AI to draft 3 different campaign angles for this niche audience, and then I pick, refine, and justify the best one, not just AI make a plan for this entire campaign. And you can start building these skills by just getting in there and tinkering, and build a portfolio while you're at it, one that shows your prompts, your reasoning along the way, and how you improved or corrected the model's work for a real business problem, and use that in interviews. That's what employers are looking for when they say ready-made talent. Okay, so to wrap this up, the market is a random system, but landing your first role as a fresh grad does not have to be. The old playbook for new grads was pick a sexy job title, send out the resumes, hope somebody picks you, and when they do, ride that path off into the sunset. The new one is different. Accept that the market is more random and dicey than it is meritocratic. And take the bridge job, the adjacent role, the contract, anything that gets someone to vet you as a working professional. And keep showing your work to a wider network, because referrals beat cold applications 4-1. Picture your career more like a climbing wall than a ladder, where you take on a variety of projects to build your unique set of skills and experience, and eventually orient yourself around solving particular problems with different methods along the way. The goal is a lot less about getting the door to open and more about building the mechanisms that will open doors for you. And if you made it this far, I so appreciate you watching. I have so much more content planned for this year, including conversations with some incredible people with wild career stories. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, I hope you will subscribe and stick around. And let me know in the comments what other topics you would like me to explore. I'm all ears.